The truth that changed everything. For the next few days, Emma tried to convince herself that the message was just a cruel prank. Daniel had been nothing but attentive, bringing her coffee in the mornings, texting her sweet messages during the day, and holding her close at night. He acted like a man with nothing to hide. And yet, the doubt lingered. Every time Daniel left for work, Emma found herself wondering, was he really going where he said he was? Who had sent that message? Why? The questions haunted her. One afternoon, while Daniel was at work, Emma sat in front of her laptop, staring at the message again. The number wasn't saved in her contacts. Maybe she could trace it? With a quick search, she found an online service that claimed to identify unknown numbers. Her hands trembled as she typed it in. Seconds later, a name appeared on the screen. Emma's heart nearly stopped. The sender wasn't a stranger. It was someone she knew very well. Someone she trusted. It was Sophie. Her best friend. A wave of nausea hit her. Why would Sophie send her something like that? Was it true? Or was she trying to ruin their marriage? Emma couldn't think straight. There was only one way to find out. That evening, she made a decision: she would follow Daniel. The next day, she told Daniel she had plans with a friend. Instead, she waited outside his office, parked a few cars away, watching. At exactly 7 p.m., Daniel walked out of the building. He wasn't alone. Emma's breath caught in her throat as she recognized Sophie beside him. They weren't holding hands. They weren't touching. But they were together. Emma gripped the steering wheel so tightly her knuckles turned white. She watched as they got into Sophie's car and drove off. Without thinking, she followed. The drive was short. They stopped outside a quiet little cafe on the outskirts of town. Emma parked at a distance, her mind racing. This was the same place mentioned in the message. For nearly an hour, she watched them through the window. They were talking, seriously, intensely. Daniel looked frustrated. Sophie looked desperate. Emma couldn't take it anymore. She got out of the car, stormed inside, and walked straight to their table. What the hell is going on here? Daniel and Sophie turned to her. More unbelievable stories are coming soon, Emma. Stay tuned. Daniel stood up. Sophie's face went pale. You sent me that message, didn't you? Emma spat at Sophie. Sophie's eyes welled up with tears. Emma, please, let me explain. Explain what? That you're meeting my husband behind my back? That you tried to make me think he was cheating on me? It's not what you think, Daniel said, his voice firm. Emma let out a bitter laugh. Oh really? Because it sure as hell looks like what I think. Sophie wiped her eyes, her hands shaking. I didn't send that message to hurt you, Emma. I sent it to warn you. Emma felt like the ground had been ripped out from under her. Warn me? About what? Sophie took a deep breath, glancing at Daniel, who looked away. Not about Daniel. About his brother. Emma's head spun. His brother? Daniel finally spoke, his voice low. It's true. My brother, Matt, he's in trouble. He borrowed money from the wrong people. I've been trying to help him pay it back, but it's dangerous. That night at the restaurant? I was meeting someone who could help him. Emma stared at him, her anger fading into confusion. Why didn't you just tell me? Daniel rubbed his temples. Because I didn't want to drag you into this. And Sophie, she found out. She was trying to get you to ask me, to force me to tell you the truth. Emma turned to Sophie, still not fully understanding. You could have just talked to me. Sophie sighed. I was scared. I thought if you knew everything at once, it would put you in danger too. Emma felt drained. This wasn't the betrayal she had feared, but it was still a betrayal in its own way. She looked at Daniel, searching his face. So there was no other woman? No, he said, taking her hands. Never. Tears filled her eyes. She had been so afraid of losing him, of being lied to. But the truth was just as painful. I don't know if I can forgive you for keeping this from me. Daniel squeezed her hands. I understand. But please, don't let this come between us. I love you, Emma. I was just trying to protect you. She exhaled shakily, looking at Sophie, then back at Daniel. This wasn't over. There was still so much to process. But for now, she had the truth. More unbelievable stories are coming soon, stay tuned.